Have you ever had to go an entire day without energy? Last semester I did. It was the day that classes were canceled and there was ice on the roads and it was snowing outside. And so I was stuck at home. I live a good 30 minutes away from campus and our power went out and I was wrapped up in a lot of blankets wondering what I was going to do cuz my phone was about to die as well. And this made me feel very helpless, and made me think what would happen if there was just no more energy, or if energy was limited or restricted. What would happen? How would our lives change? So I did some research, and presently the world is in an energy crisis because the demand for energy exceeds the supply. This is according to The Solar Economy by Herman Shear. There's also an increase in the world's population, which means there's an increase in demand and there's not an increase in supply. So we can't supply the whole world as it is right now. Third world countries are being introduced into technology, electricity, and other things that require energy, but we don't have enough energy to supply them with energy. So a lot of these third world countries are either being restricted or limited on how much energy they can use, or they just don't have energy, period. There's also been a lot of reports of blackouts. In New York, there was a big one a few years back in 2003, and this is according to Powering the Future by Daniel Botkin. There is also they're foreseeing more blackouts in the future if the problem is not resolved. The current energy sources we use are fuel, coal, nuclear, wind, and solar energy, and these are just a few. There's many more that are being studied and researched right now. The problem we find with fuel, coal, and nuclear is that they're very pollutant and use limited resources. Nuclear, for example, uses uranium storages, which are being used up very fast. It's predicted that if we were to depend only on nuclear energy, the uranium storages would be used up in 14 years. And this is according to Energy in a Changing Climate by Martin Nicholson. The problem with wind energy is that it's not always windy, and the best places for windmills is miles away from a big city. And we can't transport the energy or store it very efficiently, so this isn't a very efficient source for energy. This brings us to solar energy, which today I will talk about how solar energy is a viable form of energy. What is solar energy? Well, there's two different types of solar energy. Number one, there's the active solar energy, and then there's the passive solar energy. The active is when we go from sunlight to electricity. The passive is when the sun warms up our car in the summer and it gets really hot and we get really mad because it's really hot and we have to crank up the AC. But today we're going to focus on active. So active solar energy has two different types. There's the sunlight to electricity, which are the solar photovoltaic or solar cells, which is how most of us know it as the solar cells. And then there's the sunlight to heat up water or air, which is thermal energy. This is all according to Energy in a Changing Climate by Martin Nicholson. So some of the advantages for solar energy are that number one, it's a predictable energy cost. The sun's going to come up and then it's going to go down and it's going to give every day the same energy that it did the day before. And so there shouldn't be any fluctuations in the price for energy like there is right now. Like gas is one price today and then a completely different one tomorrow. It's also a reliable power. The sun's going to come up every day, and we can foresee that we know that that's going to be the case in the future, so we don't have to worry as much for the future generation. There's less air pollution, and according to Beyond Fossil Fuels by Joseph Hoister, every residential photovoltaic system reduces energy house gas emission as much as removing 1/3 of a car from the road. So three photovoltaic systems takes one car away from the road. So that's very good. It's a lot less air pollution. It's easy to cite as well. Solar power is one of the few generating options to work well almost anywhere. So I'm going to give you some tips on how we can transition to solar energy in our daily lives. And this is according to an article I found, over 7 ways to use solar energy in the house by Kohler Plant. Number one, we can start by buying solar indoor lights or solar outdoor lights, and you can find these in a lot of stores. I've even seen them in the Dollar Tree store. Then we can buy solar chargers for electronics. I've seen these at Walmart. They're only about $20, and these work by you place them on a window, and they absorb some of the sunlight. And then when your electronic is running low on battery, you can plug it in to the electronic and it charges it. And so they're very energy efficient. And then there's solar ovens. These were originally built for camping, but they're increasingly being used in homes. So as you can see, solar energy is a viable energy form. We can start a transition to solar energy with small steps, and solar energy is limitless and the solution for a growing energy problem. Thank you for listening.